they found mermaid children on the beach. Then, their mother returned pregnant. In a small African fishing village, something mysterious washed ashore one quiet morning. Children with shimmering tails and eyes as deep as the ocean. The villagers whispered in fear and wonder, unsure if these were gifts from the sea or a curse. But the true mystery was yet to come. When the mother of these strange children returned carrying new life within her, everything changed forever. What secrets does she hide? And what fate awaits the village now caught between land and sea? This is a tale of wonder, danger, and a bond stronger than the tides. The sun had barely risen over the quiet African coastline when Kofi, a seasoned fisherman, noticed something unusual along the shore. At first it looked like driftwood scattered by the waves, but as he drew closer, his heart skipped a beat. There, tangled among the seaweed and shells, were 3 small figures, children, but unlike any he had ever seen. Their skin shimmered with scales, and their legs were replaced by smooth, glistening tails that flicked nervously in the morning light. Kofi's eyes widened in disbelief. Were these the legendary mermaid children from the old village stories? He remembered the warnings told by his grandmother. Tales of creatures from the deep who sometimes came to the land, bringing mystery and magic, but also danger. The children looked frightened and alone, their eyes wide and searching. Kofi felt a strange mix of fear and compassion. He knew he had to act quickly. The village needed to know what he had found, but he also feared how they might react. As the waves gently lapped the shore, Kofi made his way back, carrying the secret that would soon change everything. When Kofi returned to the village carrying the mysterious children, the news spread like wildfire. The villagers gathered quickly, their faces filled with curiosity, fear, and disbelief. Mothers clutched their children tightly, and elders exchanged worried glances. "Are these truly the mermaid children of our legends?" someone whispered. Some villagers were amazed, seeing the shimmering scales and delicate tails glistening in the sunlight. Others feared what their arrival might mean, a curse or a warning from the sea. The children, quiet and shy, clung to Kofi, unsure of what awaited them. Their eyes told stories of a world beneath the waves, but no one in the village dared to ask too much. The village elder, Mama Ayo, stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We must protect these children and learn their story. The sea has sent them for a reason." But not everyone agreed. Some feared the old tales and wanted the children gone. The village stood divided, caught between wonder and fear as the mystery of the mermaid children deepened. In the days that followed, the mermaid children began to show strange abilities that both amazed and frightened the villagers. One of them, a little girl named Layla, could breathe underwater and hold her breath for what seemed like forever. Another, a boy called Tano, had the power to calm the roughest waves with just a gentle touch. The villagers watched in awe as the children moved gracefully between land and sea, their shimmering tails transforming into legs when on shore. These unusual gifts reminded many of the old stories, tales told by their ancestors about the mysterious creatures of the ocean. Yet, with these wonders came unease. The crops near the shore began to grow wild, and strange plants with glowing leaves sprouted around the village. The fishermen noticed changes in the behavior of the fish, and some nights the sea whispered eerie songs that made the villagers shiver. Despite their fears, the village elder, Mama Ayo, believed these gifts were a sign, a message from the sea, urging them to pay attention and respect the balance between their world and the ocean. The secret of the mermaid children was unfolding, bringing hope, mystery, and a growing tension that the village could not ignore. As days passed, the village began to notice unsettling changes along the shoreline. The ocean, once calm and predictable, now roared with sudden bursts of fury, throwing high waves that crashed far beyond their usual reach. Strange lights flickered beneath the water at night, casting eerie glows that danced like ghosts in the depths. Fishermen returned with nets heavy but empty, their faces clouded with worry. The usual bounty of fish was missing, and in its place mysterious shapes drifted in the water, shadows that vanished the moment someone tried to get closer. Even the birds, once vibrant and lively, flew away from the sea, their calls replaced by uneasy silence. Some villagers whispered of an ancient warning, a sign that the sea was restless, angry even. They spoke of a secret power stirring beneath the waves, tied to the mermaid children who had appeared on their shore. Mama Ayo gathered the villagers by the fire one evening and said, "These signs are not random. The ocean is speaking to us. We must listen carefully, for the balance between our world and theirs is fragile." The mystery deepened as the village faced the growing power of the sea, a power they could neither control nor ignore. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the African horizon, Mama Ayo called the villagers together. She held an ancient, weathered scroll passed down through generations, a message from their ancestors about the mermaids of the sea. The scroll spoke of a sacred bond between the village and the ocean, a promise made long ago to protect the creatures of the deep. It warned that breaking this promise could bring great danger, a curse that would shake the very earth and sea. The mermaid children were not just lost souls, they were messengers, carrying the ocean's warning to the land. As Mama Ayo read aloud, the villagers listened with growing fear and hope. The scroll revealed a way to restore balance, through respect, care, and understanding between humans and the mysterious beings of the sea. But the path was not easy. It required trust in the unknown and the courage to face their deepest fears. The village realized their future was now tied to the fate of the mermaid children and their mysterious mother. The hidden message was clear. Their survival depended on unity and belief in the magic beneath the waves. One calm morning, just as the sun began to warm the African coastline, a figure appeared at the edge of the village. The villagers paused their daily work, eyes drawn to the shimmering shape walking slowly out of the sea. It was the mother of the mermaid children, a tall, graceful woman with glistening scales along her arms and a calm but powerful presence. Her eyes held the secrets of the deep ocean, filled with both sorrow and strength. She moved carefully, her belly round with new life, and yet she carried herself with dignity. No one dared approach her at first, unsure whether to welcome or fear this mysterious visitor. Children whispered stories while elders watched in silence, sensing that this arrival would change everything. The ocean seemed to quiet, as if paying respect to the woman who had come back. Kofi, the fisherman who had found the children, stepped forward, heart-pounding. He wanted to ask questions, but knew some things required patience and trust. The village held its breath, waiting to see what this mermaid mother would bring. Hope, danger, or something no one could yet imagine. The mermaid mother settled near the village, her presence both mysterious and powerful. Her belly, round and heavy with new life, became a symbol of hope and fear for the villagers. Some believed she carried a blessing, a new beginning for both land and sea. Others whispered of an ancient prophecy, that her child would hold great power, changing the fate of their world forever. She rarely spoke, but when she did, her voice was like the gentle waves, calming yet full of hidden strength. The villagers watched as she moved gracefully between the ocean and shore, sometimes resting beneath the shade of the baobab tree, other times wading into the water with a serene smile. The children she had left behind grew attached to her, sensing a deep bond that went beyond words. Yet shadows of doubt and fear lingered. What would happen when the child was born? Would the village be blessed or cursed? The elders held secret meetings, torn between hope and caution. The mermaid mother carried not just a child, but the weight of two worlds, a fragile balance that could tip at any moment. The arrival of the pregnant mermaid stirred a whirlwind of emotions in the village. Some villagers welcomed her with open hearts, seeing her as a symbol of hope and unity between their world and the sea. They brought gifts of food and flowers, offering kindness and respect. But not everyone felt this way. Fear and suspicion took root in others, especially among the elders who remembered ancient warnings. They worried that the mermaid's presence might bring a curse, that her child could upset the balance and unleash chaos. Arguments broke out in the village square, dividing families and friends. Some believed embracing the mermaid and her children was their destiny, a chance to heal old wounds between land and sea. Others urged caution, fearing the unknown and clinging to old superstitions. Even Kofi, the fisherman who had discovered the children, found himself torn between loyalty to his village and compassion for the mermaid family. Amid this turmoil, the mermaid mother remained calm, her eyes reflecting both sorrow and hope. She understood the burden she carried, not only the life growing inside her, but the fragile trust between two worlds waiting to be tested. The village stood at a crossroads, its fate uncertain as the waves whispered their secrets in the night. Soon after the mermaid mother's arrival, the village began to suffer from a strange illness. It started quietly, our children feeling weak, fishermen growing dizzy, and crops wilting despite the rains. No one could explain what was happening, and fear quickly spread through the village like wildfire. Mama Ayo, the village elder, gathered the people to discuss the mysterious sickness. "This is no ordinary illness," she warned. "It may be a sign of the curse spoken of in our ancient scrolls. The sea is restless, and its anger may be upon us." Doctors and healers tried everything they knew, but nothing seemed to work. The villagers grew desperate, praying for relief and answers. Meanwhile, the mermaid mother watched silently, her face filled with sorrow. She knew the curse was connected to her presence, but she could not reveal the secret she carried. Kofi, torn between hope and fear, stayed close to the mermaid family, determined to protect them and find a way to save the village. The strange illness was only the beginning, a shadow looming over the village, threatening to change their lives forever. As days turned into weeks, the strange illness was just the beginning. The village began to see more frightening signs. Crops withered under the sun, wells ran dry, and animals grew restless and silent. The once gentle ocean started to churn violently, sending dark waves crashing against the shore. Villagers whispered that the curse was real, spreading its dark shadow over their home. Some claimed to see strange figures lurking near the shore at night, ghostly shapes with glowing eyes disappearing when approached. The elders believed the mermaid children's captivity in the sacred pillar had awakened an ancient anger beneath the sea. Mama Ayo warned, "The balance between our world and the ocean has been broken. Until we make amends, this curse will grow stronger." Fear gripped the village as the sea's wrath seemed unstoppable. Families huddled together, unsure of what the future held. Kofi felt the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. The discovery of the mermaid children and their mother had brought more than wonder. It had unleashed a power the village was not prepared to face. The curse was no longer a legend. It was their reality. Just as despair seemed to swallow the village whole, a faint light of hope began to shine through the darkness. One evening, while the stormy sea calmed, the mermaid mother spoke for the first time since her arrival. She told the villagers of an ancient ritual, one that could lift the curse and restore balance between the land and sea. The ritual required the villagers to return the sacred pillar to the ocean depths and to promise never to trap or harm the creatures of the sea again. Though scared and uncertain, the villagers saw no other choice. Led by Mama Ayo and Kofi, they prepared for the journey to release the pillar. As they worked together, a sense of unity grew among them, a fragile hope that they could heal what had been broken. The mermaid mother watched with quiet strength, knowing the path ahead would not be easy, but trusting in the courage of the village. For the first time in weeks, the air felt lighter, and the whispers of the ocean seemed gentler, as if the sea itself was ready to forgive. The village's fate hung in the balance, resting on a promise and a hope that love could conquer even the darkest curses. The village gathered at the edge of the sea, the sacred pillar standing tall behind them. The air was thick with tension and hope as Mama Ayo spoke to the crowd. "This is our moment," she said. "We must decide. Will we release the pillar and restore peace, or keep it and risk the curse growing stronger?" Many eyes turned toward Kofi, the fisherman who had discovered the mermaid children. His heart pounded as he thought of the consequences. He knew that keeping the pillar meant control and power, but also suffering for the village. Releasing it meant trust in the unknown and a chance to heal. After a long silence, the villagers slowly nodded in agreement. They chose hope over fear, trust over control. Together they lifted the heavy pillar and carried it toward the sea. The mermaid mother stood by the water, her eyes shining with gratitude and sadness. As the pillar sank beneath the waves, a calm settled over the village. The ocean's roar softened to a gentle lullaby, and the sky brightened with a golden glow. The final decision was made, a choice that would change their destiny forever. As the sacred pillar disappeared beneath the waves, a profound silence fell over the village. The curse seemed to lift, but the price was clear. Sacrifices had to be made. The mermaid mother revealed that she could no longer stay on land. To protect her child in the village, she must return to the depths of the ocean forever. Tears filled the eyes of the villagers, especially the mermaid children who clung to their mother. Kofi stood beside them, his heart heavy with sorrow. He had grown close to the mermaid family and understood the deep bond between mother and children. The villagers gathered to say their farewells, offering gifts and blessings for safe passage. Mama Ayo reminded everyone, though she leaves, the promise remains. We must honor the sea and protect all its creatures. With a final graceful wave, the mermaid mother slipped into the water, disappearing beneath the shimmering surface. The ocean seemed to welcome her home, its waves sparkling with newfound peace. The village mourned the loss but felt a renewed sense of unity and hope. Though farewells were painful, a new chapter was beginning. One born from sacrifice, trust, and love. With the mermaid mother gone, the village felt both empty and alive. The air was filled with a quiet hope, as if the ocean itself had whispered promises of peace and protection. The mermaid children stayed close to Kofi and the villagers, growing stronger and teaching the people about the sea's secrets. Life slowly returned to normal, but the villagers carried a new respect for the ocean and all its mysteries. They honored their promise to protect the waters and the creatures within. Understanding that harmony between land and sea was fragile and precious, Mama Ayo led the village in new ceremonies, blending ancient traditions with lessons learned from the mermaids. The sacred pillar was never forgotten, a symbol of both the past mistakes and the future's hope. Kofi often stood at the shore, watching the waves with a deep sense of gratitude. He knew the journey was far from over, but the village was ready to face whatever came next. Together. The curse was lifted, but more importantly, a bond was forged between the villagers and the ocean, between land and water, between hearts united by trust and love. This was their new beginning, a story to be told for generations, of courage, sacrifice, and the magic of the sea.